Welcome to Contractor Cuts, where we cover the good, the bad, and the ugly of growing a successful contracting company.
Welcome back to Contractor Cuts. My name is Clark Turner.
I'm Jared Flo.
Thank you for joining us again this week. So today we are talking about insurance, right? And so we get asked a lot, like, what insurance should I have? How much should I have? What should I do? And today we're going to break that down. There's a couple of different spots that you can really get in trouble with insurance. We'll talk about that, but also when and how you should increase your insurance,
Right.
and what you are and are not covered for, and how to watch your back when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yep.
So today, before jumping into that, we want major disclaimer. We
Are not insurance agents.
We're not insurance agents. This is not legal advice. And also, very importantly, insurance is state to state. There's not a federal insurance any way.
Yeah.
So when you are in Georgia versus California versus New York versus Texas, anywhere that you go, there's going to be different regulations. Like in Georgia, you're required to have insurance to show to get your license, other things like that. So we're not talking about what levels you have to have regulatory.
Yeah.
What we are talking about today is if you weren't required for anything, this is what we would put in place. This is how we'd protect ourselves. And here are the gotchas that almost took our company down from day one when it comes to miscalculating your insurance.
Yeah. These are our thoughts based on our experience, just like every other of our podcasts, based on mistakes that we've made.
Yep.
We came across a lot of these this information and kind of how to get this niched in and work well. So this is just our thoughts on that.
So diving in, we're going to start with the one-man show. If you're a single operator by yourself out there doing project management, construction, whatever you're doing yourself as a business owner, there's obviously the two main types of insurance we're going to talk about: general liability and workers' compensation. So general liability is really insurance protecting yourself from lawsuit from your client, from burning a house down for the client, anything that's
major destructive errors on job sites.
Yep. Yeah. Now the workers' comp side is you cut your hand off on the job site with a table saw. It's covering that
personal injury,
or any of your employees that are with you. Correct. All of them are covered. If someone falls down the stairs, you've got insurance to cover that. And one big reason for that, and getting into it with a one-man show, is that a lot of guys don't have workers' comp for a one-man show. They're like, you know what? I don't have the money for it. I'm just going to do general liability because that's required in a lot of states.
Right.
And so, and some states don't require workers' comp. Like the state of Georgia, where we are, you're not required as a construction company until you have 3 or more employees to have workers' comp.
Yep.
For us, and the reason that I always suggest workers' comp to a one-man show is that what would you do if you lost a finger? What would you do if you fell downstairs? Because most personal insurance health insurance does not cover work-related incidents. So a lot of times, I mean, if your answer is, I'll just tell them I hurt myself in my garage. Okay, so you're going to commit insurance fraud. Okay, got it. That's a good game plan for growing a company. So that's kind of the first and foremost. What's your game plan? How much money do you have in terms of covering an injury, covering that sort of thing? Workers' comp isn't that big of a deal when you're by yourself, one-man show, but it's important to have in place, in my opinion. Now, general liability, have to have in place. Most states require it. Most states say to operate as a contractor in this state, you need to have it as a company, or even a lot of people require it out of any sort of general company to have an insurance policy that covers it. So,
well, and also a lot of clients are going to ask to make sure that they're covered. If you're going to be working on their job site or on their house, if something goes wrong, am I liable only to what you got in your bank account if you screw up my house? So they're going to ask and make sure that everyone's
looking licensed and insured, and insured means the general liability insurance that people want in place. Once you have that in place, something very important is that, and this is where I'll tell a story in a second of where I got in trouble starting this company, is your insurance is not just covering you, it's covering anybody on your job sites. So anybody that is a 1099 or W-2, but 1099 vendors, I didn't realize when I was starting this company 18, 19 years ago that my insurance was also an umbrella for anything happening on my job site. So the story that happened was we were in business for maybe 2 years. I was making like $35,000 a year as the owner of this thing, trying to pull some sort of money out of it.
Right.
And we got to a spot where we started growing and getting some momentum. And so me and a buddy of mine that was the co-owner at the time of our construction company, he had a separate company. So we hired a on-staff office manager, someone to answer our phones, schedule things. We kind of shared that position to where I didn't have a big need for a full-time, but I could definitely keep someone busy 20 hours a week, put them on my payroll, and just I brought on that employee, and then just he paid me for the 20 hours that he was using for his company. We share an office. It was
no big deal.
Right. And so I brought her on. She was a great office manager. And I thought to myself, I need workers' comp insurance. If she falls down the stairs, I mean, if she goes to pick something up for us at a job site for a check and steps on a nail, I need that covered. Right. I want to be super safe. So I went out and got some workers' comp insurance to cover our company. A year later,
and never looked at it again.
No, I was like, great.
I'm covered.
Check that box. I'll pay that check. She's covered. If she ever gets hurt, I'm now covered, which is great. I wasn't up till that spot, but no problem. A year later, we were walking down the audit road, as you have annually with most insurance companies. And with that, I got the audit back, and they said I owed them $45,000. Well, that's $10,000 more than I'm making myself. I don't have that money, much less I can't get you that money.
Yeah.
And what happened is every dollar I paid my subcontractors
for labor,
on the labor on my job sites, because they didn't have workers' comp, they then had to be covered by my workers' comp. So every dollar I paid
which means that in their eyes you were underinsured.
Yep.
And so to make sure that you were covered, you got to make up this amount of money.
Yep. And on the back end, it was like 20 cents on the dollar. So, I might have spent $300,000-$400,000 that year in labor, and I had to pay $45,000 in insurance to cover it because it wasn't approved. It was not part of the insurance that I had. So it was, long story short, I ended up working it out and told them either we do payments or I'm going under and I'm just not going to pay.
You can see no money.
Yeah, you want some or none. And so we worked it out, and I worked my butt off over the next 2 years to get that debt repaid. But that being said, you have to understand every single person that steps foot on your job site is going to be covered by both of those insurances. Yep. So when I bring on a 1099 laborer, when I bring on anyone that's going to be a vendor on my job site, I require them to have the same level of insurance that I do. So we have a workers' comp policy. We have a general liability. To be a 1099 on our job, you have to have your own general liabilities and your own workers' comp.
Well, and that requirement is not something we came up with.
No.
That was our insurance company saying, hey, if you're going to have this, these people need to be insured, but they also need to be at the same amount that you're covered for.
Yep.
Which years later became a little bit more complicated because we actually had to substantially go higher because of different companies that we were working with. And so we had to get a larger amount of insurance to get in with some of these bigger companies, which caused a real big complication with a lot of our subs. So just something to know, that wasn't just some arbitrary number that we came up with, that we wanted our 1099 guys to match the level of insurance we had. That came direct from our insurance company, that was what was right.
Someone was going to have to pay for that insurance, either us or them. And so the way we've built it is we want them to pay for it. We will pay more to a 1099 than I would an in-house labor. But when I'm paying an in-house W-2, I'm still also paying insurance on them. So I'm paying the same amount whether it's in-house or 1099.
Right.
I'm just pushing the liability because in 18 years, we've claimed insurance on our insurance one time.
Yep.
We've claimed it probably 4 times on our vendors on different issues. And the one time it was on us is because we didn't get the insurance in place from that vendor. If we would have gotten that and the office followed the right procedures at that time, we'd have 0 claims. And every time you make a claim, insurance goes up.
Yeah.
And so if you have 10 different W-2 laborers on staff and someone hurts their shoulder, that's a claim. Someone else has an issue, that's a claim. Something else goes wrong, that's a claim. And so now I'm incrementally increasing my monthly outgoing because, well, this company claims a lot, let's raise their insurance.
Right.
It's like car insurance. You get a lot of accidents, your insurance is going up.
Right. Right.
So that being said, when we lay this out to new contractors coming into the business who are asking advice on it, The big pushback is, bro, I can't get these guys to get insurance. I'm trying to get them to buy tools. I'm trying to get them on site. Like they're not put together well enough to have their own insurance.
Right.
And so what we do, we walk you through. We're going to lay out our policy how we onboard vendors and how we bring them in and help them get that insurance in place with a soft kind of launch for them.
Mm-hmm.
So Jared, kind of explain pretend I'm a vendor and I don't have insurance. I want to work for you, but what would be how would you talk me through coming on board as a 1099 subcontractor for you?
And getting insurance?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's one of the ways that we look at it. And, in some of our previous podcasts, we talk about, taking ourselves and putting ourselves in our subcontractor's shoes to understand what are they going through, what are they dealing with, how can we kind of help with that. And a part of this is like they're helping them develop as a business. Insurance is going to be something that's really going to help them kind of grow and get into different industries and all that stuff. But it's expensive and it's a hard pill to swallow to jump across that thing. So coming in as a new vendor for us, that being a requirement, is difficult to land people and say, hey, if you want to work with us, you have to be, you have to have this insurance, right? Now, if you're a $100 million company that everybody's trying to go and work with, you just got a standard and say, either you got it or don't. You want to work with us, you get it, right? And we try to run a hard line with that as much as possible. But if we find somebody that we're like, this guy's going to be really, really solid, he needs to get the insurance, but he needs some time to test us.
Sure, it's worth it for him.
Is it worth it for him? Are we going to do what we said? Are we going to pay him good money? Are we going to pay him on time? And if he pays this insurance to work with us, is he still going to make good money? Yeah. Right? And so we'll work with them on a short runway of, all right, let's get you to this place. And by this point, the expectation is you're going to have that insurance set up. If you don't, I can't send you any more work.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a short onboarding to give them a little bit of stair step up to get on the insurance. And there's a lot of people that we've done that with and for many, many years that now have their own insurance. They've become a larger, substantial, company. They've got in with some other companies, right? But they're loyal to us because we helped them get there. Yeah. So that's kind of the very beginning process that we help with that. Now, there are some people that we don't require to get insurance. And those are the ones that are kind of going to be the smaller one-off trades, like a cleaner. For in our industry, a lot of times at the end of a job, we've got a, post-construction cleaning that comes in. We've got a cleaner that goes in and that person's making, $300, $400, $500 every couple of weeks. They're not doing they're not making a ton of money. And even if they were working every single day with us, they're probably only making $30,000, $40,000 a year, right?
Yeah. And they're not even through us usually. I mean, usually I think we look back on average because we have so many project managers and they all have their own cleaners and they kind of turn over some and replace some and use one for a while. Our average cleaner was, I think, about $6,000 a year that we were spending out of our pocket on that one specific cleaner. So we were like, to require them to get a $2,500, $3,000 insurance policy.
That's unfair to them.
They're not going to do it. We're not going to be able to capture them. So
there's so when it comes to insurance, you've got general liability, and under general liability, you've also and workers' comp, you've got something that's called uninsured coverage, right? Just like motor vehicle, right? You have to have uninsured coverage that if you hit somebody or somebody hits you that doesn't have insurance, you're covered. Yeah. It's the same concept.
But it's expensive.
But it's more expensive, right? A $1 million policy of just regular general liability and workers' comp is reasonably priced, but it's to be able to get that amount of uninsured is going to be very, very expensive.
Well, and you pick the amount of money that you're going to spend of uninsured. Now, if you go under that, there's a refund. If you go over that, they're going to ask for more.
That's right.
But for us, I think we're at like $200,000 a year.
We're at $250,000.
$250,000 a year of uninsured labor we're going to pay out. And what that covers is that first month onboarding for that crew that wants to test us out and go through the dating stage before they commit to marrying
We are covered under that, and so are they.
Yes, and so it's like I can spend $10,000 on this crew before they get insurance, and then say, hey, you see what we can do. You can see the amount of money you can make here. It's time to get that insurance in place. We've had that conversation since they started with us, and they've committed to doing that. And they say, yeah, I made $10,000 in a month. I'll pay for insurance. Deal. Right. And so we will help them do that. We'll introduce them to an insurance agent. Again, we've talked about this in past podcasts. If I can help my vendors and my subs build better businesses, A, they're going to appreciate and be loyal. B, they're going to run more efficiently. And both of those things lead to more efficiencies on my job site and better quality products. So
That's right.
I'm here to help grow those 1099 vendors into our teammates and part of our team and a partnership to where we're doing this together. So that mentality with the insurance, the same thing. Like, don't go out and buy it today if you don't know if this is a good fit for you.
Right.
Let us get a couple paychecks to you and see if this works well. And if it does, great. That's when we're going to require it. I'm going to have a drop dead date. Maybe we're going to put it 5 weeks from today. You can't do work until you're insured. But the next 5 weeks, do as much work as you can, and we'll cover it. We'll cover that insurance for you.
Right.
One thing to note also, we're going to get into kind of managing the subs. But with that being said, with managing our subs in our software, you put in their insurance into the software, right? So if I have a vendor come in, they give me the insurance, I upload it into the software underneath them and their profile as a vendor for me.
Yeah.
When I do that, I pick a date and I say, hey, this is the expiration date on this insurance. And I check a box saying notify them and me when this date's coming. 60 days out, when what is that, 10 months from now, the vendor and my office will start getting emails from our software that says,
make sure you're about to expire.
Hey, this is your expiration date. Let's get it. And it's going to go once a week from 60 days out all the way down to like 7 or 10 days, and then it goes daily. It says, hey, we still don't have your insurance. Hey, we don't have your insurance. And then once you update the insurance in our software, those emails stop.
To go. Right.
Along with that, you're getting printouts on their work orders that say, hey, do not do work after this date or you will not receive money because we cannot pay you because your insurance expires. Right. So I say all that when I'm signing up my new vendor to do this work for us for the first month without insurance, I'm going to put a date in the software like I have insurance for them through that date. That way, I've got a drop dead date, and my paperwork matches what I'm saying. So they can't get any of my project managers send them a work order through ProStruct 360. On the bottom of the work order in red writing, after that date, it's going to say, do not do this work until the office has received updated insurance coverage. You will not get paid for any work completed until that has happened. Right. And so that way we have full control of the financial side of, listen, buddy, I told you we couldn't pay you. I put it on our contract, the work order, and so you know and have agreed to get this insurance. That way it doesn't bleed and turns into 2 months and 3 months and 4 months. Right. And now I'm eating all of this insurance money. So that, and we've covered a lot in a short period of time in this, but to break it down a little bit more, getting a general liability and a workers' comp policy we think is very important. Within that, look at the uninsured coverage policies and talk to your agent about that. Having that uninsured in place and thinking, okay, how much work am I going to do? Let's do 5% of the amount of work I think I'm going to do this year. It's going to be uninsured because most of my vendors have it, or none of my vendors have it, but I'm trying to get them to switch over. Let's go up to 15% of whatever my projections are going to be uninsured, so I have a ramp to get there. But looking at it that way and saying, okay, this vendor I'm never going to require. They're a cleaner. It's a haul-off guy that does work for me every other month. I don't use them a lot. It's okay. I can eat that. But general rule of thumb for the company, you have to have insurance outside of being a cleaner to work at to work for us as a 1099. If you want to learn more about this, one cool thing, again, having the vendor management side starts at our $89 a month. So at $89 per month in the software,
you have a storage system, a digital storage system for
tracking it.
You put all your vendors in there, so you've got all their information, but you also have all their paperwork as well.
And also, very important, when I upload this year's new insurance, it stores last year's and the year before and the year before. So when I have a callback in 18 months about a water line breaking because a nail went through it,
I can't claim insurance on the date insurance for today. I have to claim insurance on the insurance paperwork associated when the error on the site happened. So you need the retention of those documents.
So you have a full software built with all of the insurance for all of your vendors in there. We've got a report that you're going to be able to run that you hit audit, and it's going to pull all that information. So you are done with your insurance audits. It's pretty much handled throughout the.
Well, and that was a couple last tips and tricks. One of those was that one. Making once a year you will go through an audit. They come out and they're looking through the paperwork to make sure that everybody that we paid was covered under insurance, right? The tip in that is if you just crap a bunch of papers on, and they're trying to sort through it and they're having to take a lot of time and they can't find what they're looking for, and some are forward and some are backwards and some are stapled and some are clipped, and it's just a mess. It's not going to go so well for you.
Yep.
Ours, even before we had the system, we worked really, really hard and spent a lot of time going through files and folders, but we would go through every single one of them, get the documents that we needed, and alphabetize them.
Yep.
Right? Now the software handles that for you.
You have a report that says AAA haul off, I paid this amount on these dates or during the last 12 months. And so you can see who you paid what, and a checkbox next to it that says they have insurance, and also all the insurance paperwork sitting there in the software that you can print out.
Yeah.
So it's super efficient for those audits, but it also allows you to check in to see who doesn't have insurance. If someone wants to start working for you again, they used to. Well, now you don't, so we need to update that. It really handles the back office for you to where it cuts the need for an office manager down to where they can spend more time on more important things, as well as if you're still managing the back office yourself, it's handling a lot of that for you.
Right.
So get on the software, try it out. There's a free version that's forever free. Then there's the paid versions that are 2 weeks for free. Get in there to the complete version that's got this, that's got the QuickBooks, got everything. Test it out. But all that to say, you have to be organized or insurance will take you down as a company.
Yeah, well.
If you don't have it in place and something goes wrong, your company's going down. If you do have it in place and you do it the wrong way, your company's going down. So it's a spot that is a dreaded necessity of this business, and a lot of guys don't think about it because it's nothing but paying money for nothing, it feels like.
Yep.
Take it seriously. Make sure that you're dotting every I, crossing every T. If you have any questions about it too, reach out to us. We will have a personal conversation, Jared or I, with you about insurance.
Like we said, we are not professionals in this. We're not licensed in this, but we've got a lot of experience.
Yep. Find a broker. We've talked about this too before. We prefer brokers over a single agency. They can shop. They can give you opinions. They could talk you in or out of stuff, but also have your back and change insurances when things are going wrong.
Yeah, our broker's been great through the years with random questions and also reaching out to us. There's plenty of times that, our insurance, whoever our insurance carrier is, will send us a document and we're like, what the crap is this, right? Send it off to her and she just handles it, gets it taken care of. So
find one of those in your area. If you need help, if you're in Georgia, we'll connect you with someone, or Tennessee or Texas, we'll connect you with someone. But if you are asking around on Facebook groups or other contractor groups in your area, find a good broker and sit down and say, this is what I'm looking to achieve. What's the cheapest way to achieve this where I'm protected? And have them help you get educated on some of that stuff. But like I said, we're always available for conversations. Reach out, go to ProStruck360.com, go to contact us, set up a demo or a meeting with Jared or I. We'd love to talk with you about the software, our coaching program,
or just general questions.
Or about life.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.